Good evening, everyone, and welcome you to Creative Warriors online programs powered by Vidyadan by Media and Entertainment Skills Council. This is Pooja Arora welcoming you all and wishing you all a very happy Women's Day. On this Women's Day special, we have a wonderful session for the empowerment of youth, for learning from a very, very amazing, a versatile, and a very special person who I'm getting nervous. See, a graduate in electronic engineering and a phenomenal woman, plethora of talent, Miss Suchitra Pillai. Films, televisions, web series, theater, modeling, singing, VJ. She's a versatile. She's versatile in everything she does. She has done it all with the style and her own essence. Apart from her roles in movies like Dil Chahta Hai, Page 3, Laaga Chunari Mein Daag, Fashion, and she is a singer as well, an Indie-pop and a rock genre with an album such as Life, which was released in 2011. I have a huge list to tell about her, but let's hear it from about her journey from Miss Pillai. Miss Pillai, welcome you here.
Hi, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Pooja. Happy Women's Day to all of you who are watching, all the young women, the older women, and the young guys. Just my advice to you, treat all of these women in your life really well, okay? No matter who they are. Happy Women's Day to all of you. It's great to be here.
So, ma'am, your journey have been uh, so
Yes,
amazing. We have a
it's been an interesting one. I have to admit, Pooja. It's been something that was unplanned, which is what has probably empowered me even more. To know that you don't really have to plan your life A, B, C, D. Some things just happen the way they're supposed to happen, and that's the story that I would like to share with whoever's watching today, because who knows, somebody might just take a little bit from there and might help them. So I'm more than happy to do that.
absolutely. It's all. The session is all yours.
Thank you. Thank you. So all of you out there, as I said, happy Women's Day to all of you, and for all you guys who are watching. Treat all the women in your life really well, okay? Be it mother, sister, girlfriend, lover, whoever it is, daughter. Please treat them well, because you know that they're really, really worth something. Let me start with telling you guys a little bit about myself. You all have probably, seen me on the screen, whether it's television, web series, films like Dil Chahta Hai, Fashion, Page 3, Laaga Chunari Mein Daag, all of that. But I want to go back a little bit into my past to tell you guys where I started from and how I kind of came about being who I am today, all with decisions that I took for myself, and that's what I would say empowered me in some way, to be able to decide what path my life should take, and that's what I'm here to talk to you guys about. Women empowerment doesn't mean we need to go and scream from the rooftops that, oh, let's empower ourselves and feminism and this and that and the other. If you're confident in yourself, a lot of things happen just the way they're supposed to happen. Naseeb mein likha hai, that's what they say. Now, my story, well, I'm an engine. I studied engineering. That's my degree, electronics engineering, and I never used it for one day of my life. No regrets as far as that is concerned. But um, I've played many roles in my life. Okay, I okay. Let's just say I'm once divorced, twice married, mother of one. Some sites say I have two children. I don't. I have one child. I'm a sister. I'm a friend. I'm a daughter. I'm an actress in all mediums. I'm a dubbing artist. I'm a singer. I'm a compere. I'm a radio jockey. I do all of these things. So I wear many hats, and it's always, my life has been like that. Without, as I said earlier, without planning, things that just happen. But I always believe that things happen in your life because you're the chosen one, and you're supposed to have that strength to go through all of that in your life. So respect everything that comes your way, and just take it in your stride, and there won't be any fences to stop you. That's what I always say. When I was 17, I was doing engineering, and of course, at that time, I was given the option of leaving my engineering for 6 months and doing the movie Jo Jeeta Wahi Sikandar with Amir Khan as Aisha Julka's role. And at that time, I would have had to give up my engineering for 6 months. And I didn't. I don't know why, but maybe my life would have changed then. Maybe it wouldn't. Who knows? But I didn't do it at that point. I continued with my engineering. And in my final year of engineering, of course, during that time, I was modeling. I did a lot of TV commercials, etc. And in my final year of engineering, I fell in love and I got married. That was my first marriage. And I moved to England when I was 20, 21 years old. So very early, and of course, if I had to work as an engineer, I would have had to study 20, 2 years more, which I wasn't really one of those people who said, "Arey, printed circuit board design karna hai, ya ye karna hai, ya wo karna hai, engineering field mein." So I started working in a restaurant there called the Bombay Brasserie, which is a very famous restaurant in London, and it was run by the Taj Group of Hotels. And over there, you had the prime of Hollywood would come there to eat Indian food, and it's where the pop stars popped champagne. So people like Janet Jackson, Gloria Estefan, Emma Thompson, Laura Dern, Anthony Hopkins, Jeff Goldblum, Robin Williams, Bruce Springsteen, all of these people were actual visitors at this restaurant. Why I'm telling you about this particular job, which was probably like my first job, at 2021, is because it taught me one of the main things that I think has stood me in good stead in my present day career. It taught me humility. And by that I mean not humility because I was serving, as a hostess, and I was serving people, but humility because of the way I saw all of these really, really famous people react and talk to an absolute newcomer or novice like me, and just how it's so important to be approachable no matter what career you choose, especially in showbiz. It's very, very easy to get up on a high horse or put yourself up on a pedestal thinking, "Ha, ye main hu," and I've achieved this, and I'm bigger than the other people. But it's really not that way. It's not. You need to be humble. You need to know where your roots are, and you need to know that it's those people who watch your shows who are responsible for making you who you are. So you better be approachable to them. So this is one big lesson I learned from this place, because somebody like Anthony Hopkins, Sir Anthony Hopkins, I'm sure you guys have seen movies with him. um, he actually, when I was a brand new, when I just joined the restaurant, he agreed with the manager and played a joke on me. Soon after Silence of the Lambs, the movie had released. I mean, just to think that somebody of that stature would do something like that for me, it was so exciting and absolutely unbelievable for a 21-year-old. So anyway, so that was one decision that I made. When you're talking about empowerment, I empowered myself at that point, saying, okay, I don't want to necessarily work as an engineer. Let me start doing this. So I started working as a hostess. during that time during that time, I got a call from, I was with a model agency in London, and I got a call from the agency saying that, there's a role for the lead in a French movie about the dowry system in India. And do you act? So I said, well, I've only done some amateur theater. I played a rat or a mouse in Cinderella in school, and I played, a couple of roles in amateur theater when I was 10 years old, 12 years old. But other than that, no. So they said, would you still like to go for this audition? I went for the audition, and I said, the casting director there, there were a lot of actresses before me who were very trained actresses, and we were given 10 minutes to do two scenes from the movie, which were really, really intense scenes. And at the end of the second scene, I was supposed to break down and cry, etc. And the girl in front of me, I heard her saying, "Oh, we couldn't really get into the skin of the character because you gave us 10 minutes, etc." And she just read her part and she left. It was my turn when I went in. Jennifer Jaffrey, who was the casting director, she said, "Welcome. And how many years have you been acting, Suchitra?" I said, "Well, this is my first audition." And she said, "Okay, fine, sit down and read." And I said, "No, I'd like to stand up and act out the scene for you." And she said, "Okay, fine. You can use your papers." I said, "No, I don't want to use my papers. I think the rattofying in engineering kind of helped me memorize lines well." Um, I said, I won't use the papers. I'll just go ahead and do the scene and make it up along the way. Yeah. At the end of those two scenes, I had actually broken down. I was crying and I was sitting there on the floor begging her, etc. And I'll never forget this. She picked me up, put me on the sofa next to her, And she said, now tell me the truth, Suchitra, how many years have you been acting? So that was the change in my life. That's when my life really took a change. And I got the role in this French movie, and I was shooting in Sri Lanka. And that was, a great way to start my career. And when I came back to England, I realized that it was very important to build your body of work, to hone your skills. You can't just say, "Ha, main actress ban gayi." You need to do something. You need to add something to it, which is another form of empowering yourself. To hone your skills, to be the best at what you are, to know that you are not the best right now, and there's so much more to learn. No matter what stage of life you have reached, no matter how many awards you have got, that's what's important. So I did a lot of children's theater. I did where you would take the set, go to one school, do the play, take down the set, go to another school, that kind of thing. And it was very interesting. I did radio drama, I did other plays, I did another English film. And in amongst all of that, I did music videos for Bally Sagoo, for Apache Indian, for Oasis, for a singer called Basha, for Zazie. And I sang on a few albums also with artists there like Talvin Singh, Kula Shaker, Rashid Taha from France. And it was very, very interesting. So I would have to say, I mean, in that age between 21, to 27 is when I really blossomed into being this person, the actress that, that people know or see today. And sadly, of course, at the end of that, my personal life kind of took a bit of a beating. Now, that is another thing. I mean, I'd like to tell all of you girls out there, don't ever take hiccups in your personal relationships as failures, yeah, no matter what the reason. When I was 27, my husband had to move to Tokyo, my ex-husband, and I stayed on in London, and it was a drifting apart of two people, and that's all it was. There were no problems in the marriage or anything, but we drifted apart, and then we decided to get a divorce. So at 27, I was back in Bombay, in my parents' house, the first ever divorce in my mother's side of the family. And naturally everybody was worried. My friends were worried, my parents were worried, and a lot of people turned around and told me, Suchi, what's wrong with you? Just go and sit in Japan and be Mrs. So and so, but that was not me. And that's another, I think, another turning point for me as far as empowering myself was concerned. When this was the advice given by so many people, I had confidence in myself. That is always so, so important, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, to know that you can make a success of your life, no matter, what how high the ladder is that you have to climb. But as long as you know what you want, and as long as you have the self-confidence, the self-esteem to do it. So at 27, came back, and all I told my parents was that, you all have, with open arms, you all have taken me in. I just promise you one thing. I will definitely not embarrass you all in any way. I will make something of myself, keeping in mind the values that you have always brought me up with, and also keeping in mind the fact that I will never step on anybody else's toes to get to any level that I want to. Well, they believed me, and I'm glad they did, because then it gave me a kind of a goal that, okay, and not only do I have to prove something to my loved ones, I have to prove something to myself, which is the most important. When we talk about women empowerment, when we talk about empowering ourselves, do it for yourself, make yourself powerful. Don't do it for other people. Okay, just make sure that you do it for yourself. And that's the biggest, I mean, that's the biggest power you can ever have, to be able to look at yourself in the mirror every day, turn around and say something to yourself like, wow, I'm happy with where I have reached today, all on my own steam. That really is the biggest adrenaline rush that anybody can have. So came back to Bombay, and one was wondering again over here, what I should do, etc. But I've never been one to kind of sit down and just wait for things to happen. Okay, that is another that's another way of, every time while I'm talking to you all, I'm kind of analyzing the ways that I empowered myself. I think, subconsciously, these were the steps that it took for me to empower myself. And it's really helped. So how did I empower myself next? Okay. At 27, I mean, I was like, what should I do with my life, etc. And I happened to meet the general manager of Channel V. the music channel, Channel V, which was very big then. There was MTV and there was Channel V. And I met him at a party, and he was like, "Oh, I'm the general manager of Channel V. I don't know if you've seen the channel." And I said, "Yes, of course I've seen the channel. It's a wonderful channel, but it's your loss because I'm not on it." That's exactly what I told him. And that's another way that I empowered myself, just going out there and getting a job for myself without wondering what the consequences are going to be. And he said, "Are you serious? Did you just say that? Do you want to put your money where your mouth is? I'll give you an audition. Why don't you, come for an audition?" I auditioned. I created my own show for them. I auditioned. And 2 weeks later, they called me from Hong Kong saying that I had a job, and I became a VJ officially at Channel B with my show called Simply South. So I've always believed, do whatever it takes to turn every stone. A friend of mine, she once told me, do whatever it takes, turn every stone. And that's when I started promising myself to turn every single opportunity that is given to me, towards as an adventure towards the path that I had chosen to take. Never be scared about what's coming up, because you are right now in this place on earth. You are right now facing the difficulties, facing the good times, the bad times, whatever you're facing, because God up there knows that you are the ones who have the strength to do it right now. So you shouldn't be worried about why me, why me. That question why always makes us doubt the present. Why is this happening to me? Sirf, mujhe hi kyun ho raha hai? All this siapa that we sit and do, that's totally unnecessary, because if you can solve that question before that question gets to you, I think, you've got half of your battle won. So I started with Channel V, and that was a fabulous job to have. It was, I mean, it was really, really the job to have. Making money, getting the fame and the fortune and everything. But again, through it all, as I said, to stay grounded, to know that yes, this may be a job that a lot of people want at this point in time, but to know that yes, there are a million other people who would want this job. So you better be grateful that you were the one who got it, and count your blessings every single day. While I was at, so soon after that, anyway, when of course I separated and came to India, separated from my ex-husband. The following year, of course, it was a personal hiccup, and we had to go through a divorce. Now, that is always a big shakeup in anybody's life, especially a woman's life. They say that death, moving house, divorce, etc., are like 2, 3 things which are really major in any woman's life or man's life for that matter. But for me, it was a stepping stone again towards empowering myself, I would say, towards realizing that my happiness is not dependent on somebody else being there in my life to create that happiness for me. If I want, I could create that happiness for myself, no matter what I'm doing. And I think that confidence and that attitude of no regrets, okay, it didn't work, sadly, it didn't work, is nothing to be ashamed of. It's not to be looked at as failure. It is to be looked at as just a path that you had to cross, an experience that you had to have to reach where you are today. And every experience that you have in life makes you a stronger person, makes you a better person, makes you make the right decisions when you cross some other hurdles next up in your life, in this big adventure that we call life. So this is all at 27, 28. I've come back, and I'm already a divorcee, and wondering what else to do with my life. Of course, Channel V was going on, but as far as love is concerned, I don't think I ever felt worried about not falling in love again, or not being in love again, or somebody not loving me. And for all you girls out there, we all go through heartache, and we all go through breakups, etc., etc. But don't let that get you down. Don't be one of those cynical people who says, all men are so and so, and all men are like this. And I don't think I ever once said that in my life, that all men are, let's bleep out the words. But I never once said that, because there's no point wasting your energy on something that you can't really change. Yeah, whatever's happening in your life is happening in your life. Okay, you make the changes that you try and make, but you can't really shift what's written in the bigger plan. Nevertheless, I took it in my stride, I would have to say. And then of course, between the years of 27 to 35, when I got married again, my second marriage, is when I kind of lived up life. Maybe I hadn't, because I got married when I was 20, and that was okay to have, to have a career, to do the things that I wanted to do. And during that time, uh, other decision making processes started happening. Do I want to get into the movies? So there was opportunity like Bas Itna Sa Khwab Hai, Dil Chahta Hai, movies like that came up. Dil Chahta Hai was very strange because I knew Farhan Akhtar as a friend, and he just called me up one day and he said, Suchi, you're doing a role in my film, which I've written. And I said, okay. He said, just come to the office. I'd like you to come to the office. And I went to the office, and sitting there was Saif Ali Khan, who was supposedly my co-star. And he introduced me and he said, oh, you're going to be opposite him. And I was like, wow, okay. Saif Ali Khan, he was huge. Um, and he said, both of you just stand up and just start jogging on the spot. And we looked at him and he said, no, there's a scene of you guys jogging on the beach. I don't know how many of you have seen the movie, but he said, I just want to see how the two of you look jogging together. So we stood there and we jogged up and down. And he said, yeah, chalo, you all are doing, Suchi, you're doing the part with him. Wonderful, fantastic experience working on a film like that. During that time, I also worked on a lot of serials, which I think even today create quite a few waves. Series like Hip Hurray, which was way ahead of its time. I'm sure some of you have seen it. It's still on YouTube, etc., and has had reruns. Um, Rahe, Papa, Star Bestsellers, X Zone, you name it. I did all of those serials, and it was interesting because I've seen now the whole journey of how television was then, how TV is now, and now with the advent of course, the web and OTT platforms, etc. There's so much more for an actor, work-wise to do, and it's really, really interesting. And to have seen that journey in the last 27 years, yes, I have been in the industry for 27 years. I turned 50 last year. And that's really empowered me, frankly speaking, girls. I have no qualms about saying that I turned 50 years old. I'm still, full power at 50. I don't feel my age. And, I don't sit around saying, oh my God, I'm 50. I should change and I should be like this and I should be like that. No, I don't. I've just decided to be who I am, to feel as young as I feel in my mind. And that's what probably shows. So, many things. So basically, lots of things happened like that about, doing television. I started work also on my music at that time. I had started doing work on an album, which was taken on by HMV. There was a company called HMV at that time. And after doing the whole album, they turned around and they said, Suchi, sorry, we're not going to release this. This is not the kind of music that's out today. Now, why I've come to this is because I want to talk about rejection and how that is always a big part of our lives, be it in our personal lives, be it in our professional lives. But you need to take rejection the right way. You need to be able to handle the word no in your life in the right way. Don't take it again as failure. Take it as a stepping stone. I have never taken the no's, and we do hear a lot of no's when it comes to being an actor. Most definitely, we do. I've taken them all as just a kind of a shake up or a wake up call to say, "Okay, I'll work harder." Never say, "Oh God, I got rejected here also. Oh my God, I got rejected there." I mean, I'd have advice for the people who are looking at, my business, show business, being actors, being singers, being in the film industry, etc. You are going to see a lot of that. You are going to hear a lot of no's. You're going to feel a lot of rejection because you have to go through the grind. You have to go through, the meeting people, this, that. Someone thinks you're right for the role. Someone thinks you're not. There are months on end when you're just sitting around doing nothing. But don't worry about it. Just think about it as, time again to hone your skills, to do a course, to do something else that will help you become a better actor or a better singer or a better compere, or as the case may be. So so throughout I mean, I did a lot of movies there during that time. As I said, I worked with all of the Khans. I don't know if you all know, I did Marigold with Salman Khan. I've done Dula Mil Gaya with Shah Rukh Khan, Fashion with Arbaz, Dil Chahta Hai with Amir and Saif. That's also Khans. So yeah, there's quite a few of them, a few of the Khans that I've worked with. And I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, in amongst all of that, I also got opportunity to work in Hollywood. Yeah, a couple of years ago, I did my first Hollywood film for 20th Century Fox, which was a horror film called The Other Side of the Door. Um, so I did that film where I played a 65-year-old woman. That's another form of empowerment. I mean, when I was chosen for the role, they said, you know, you're too young for it. We need somebody who's 65. I said, make me 65. I'm sure you'll have great makeup artists, so make me 65. And they said, you're the first actor that we have met in our auditions who turned around and said, make me look old. And that is what empowers you in your career, to give it your all, to know what you're capable of, to not have fear of trying different things, to not have fear of doing something that other people have said no to. It doesn't make you any smaller if you are chosen because somebody else was not there to do to do that role. Today maybe there was somebody else to talk to you guys, and if they couldn't make it, I was asked. But that's okay. It's my blessing, and it's my opportunity to be here. So you have to take it like that. You have to take it like a strength. One of the biggest strengths, I think, is to adapt yourself, to whatever the scenario or whatever the situation may be. I think adaptability for any actor or any walk of life is the biggest strength. It's like how animals adapt themselves. Ultimately we are all like wild animals, and how we all adapt to various situations in our life is what empowers us. It's what gives us the strength to know that we are capable of doing this and then some more. Giving your 100% to everything that you choose to do. I know that I did that. People ask me so many times, why so many things, Suchi? You sing, you act, you compare, you're doing television, film, theater, you're doing radio, you're doing all sorts of things, dubbing. I'm a dubbing artist as well. So I voice Hindi. I speak in Hindi for artists like Angelina Jolie, Meryl Streep, etc. in movies. It's very, very interesting. Excuse me. It's very, very interesting, I must tell you. But in all of this, I think I turn around and I tell them, why not? Because ultimately there is only one life that we are living, so they say. So why not give it my 100%? I'm not losing anything by giving it my 100%. And if I feel I can do that and this and this and that, it's a great thing. That's another way, choosing the career that I've chosen, which is a very fickle career. It's very insecure. Being an actor, it is very insecure. 27 years in the business, and I'm still in that I'm still at that point where one doesn't really know whether for the next 3 months I will have work or whether I won't have work. And to empower yourself from fears like that, what you need to do is basically just go out there and put yourself out there. Do not have an ego to turn around and pick up the phone. I don't. I call up directors, I call up producers, I call up casting directors when there is no work. And I actually turn around and I tell them that, okay, I'm free right now. Is there anything that you think I'm suitable for? I would like to test for it. So ego, leave that far behind. It's the worst. It's your worst enemy, no matter what career you choose. I'm talking from the showbiz point of view. I know a lot of people change when they become famous and they become big stars or whatever, but or whatever. But I think leaving your ego aside, I think that's one of the biggest favors you can do yourself when it comes to, especially a career in showbiz. Pick up that phone, make those phone calls, do something for yourself, create that change. That's what will empower you. Don't sit there waiting for somebody else to make that call for you, or for somebody else to call you. Nahi, nahi, yaar, main so and so hu. I'm not going to call, they'll call me if they need me. No, they probably don't even know that you're free at that point, which is why I say you make the call. Now, things like, love, relationships, breakups, tears, all of that, of course, are all part and parcel of life. And, they have played an important part in what has made me or who I am today. You know, Even then, through a divorce, I can still truthfully say that I totally believed in love. I still do. And one knows that, and I knew then itself that one love would find me again and again and again and again, and I wasn't fearful of that. But saying which, as I said before, I was empowered enough to know that I was not going to base my level of happiness on the happiness that somebody else could give me. I was going to create it for myself. So that's what I continued doing. I started working on my uh, next album, which was, after being rejected with my first one. It was an indie pop album called Such Is Life, or Suchi's Life, the way you read it. It was on Artist Aloud, it was on online. And that was great to hear my voice, the way I wanted to hear it. It's been a passion all of my life, and to do something with it, I was happy that I did. My second album will be released soon. It's an English rock album called The History of Rock and Roll. And that too, though it's taken some time, it's ready and it's not yet been released, but it will be released soon. Uh, why it's taken time is because of the lockdown, etc., etc. But I've decided, I mean, that's another thing where friends say, "Oh, more power to you, Suchi," because I turn around and I say, "No, no, come, hello, high water. So what if I'm 50 years old? I am going to release this album. There is no age bar when it comes to music, which is the universal language the world over. So why be worried? Why be worried about doing something about it? So I decided that I will release this album, and I will. You all will probably be able to hear and see the stuff that I made. Now, as a dubbing artist, that's another thing that I've done. As I said, I've voiced the voices of Angelina Jolie, Kate Blanchett in Hela, Thor, Ragnarok, as Hela in Ragnarok, Thor, and Maggie Gyllenhaal in Batman: The Dark Knight, Maggie Q in Die Hard, a lot of those things. So that's another. It was brand new for me. I'd never been a dubbing artist before, but I was eager to learn. And after a very few hiccups as an actor, it was just another way of acting, which I decided to put into practice. And so I'm a dubbing artist. At that too. That's another hat that I wear. So going back to what I said, when people say why so many things, and I say why not so many things, we have one life to live, so you may as well pack it up with as much as you can and live it fully, and to be able to then share your stories the way I'm sharing my experiences and my stories with you guys uh, is helpful, because I think if some chapter, or a page from my life's book, if that can start a chapter in somebody else's life, that's definitely, then it makes a big difference to me, and it knows that I've helped in some way. Now, speaking of chapters in life, so as I said, from 27 to 35, I did all of these things, and then at 35, love found me again, I would have to say, and my husband, Lars Kelsen, who is a Danish national, he's from Denmark. We fell in love, and yes, 35 I got married, and at 37 I had my first child, Anika, who is now 13 years old. Now, when it comes to love, girls out there, I mean, I can only speak from your side. Look for somebody who empowers you. Look for somebody who doesn't curb you, doesn't hold you back. Look for somebody who compliments you. Not compliments you in sentences that they say you're looking beautiful. What I mean is compliments your character, compliments your persona. Look for somebody like that. Someone who, highlights the word happy in your life. Someone who is there to share in all the sorrows and the joys and everything else. And I have to say, I mean, for me, that my husband has been fantastic. I have reached where I have today. In the 16 years that we have been married, I would have to say, I mean, a lot of responsibility he has taken on when it came to our child, etc. And thanks to that, so guys who are watching, I mean, it's possible for you also to empower the women in your life by sharing the load. There's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. We live in a modern world, and there is nothing wrong with saying, okay, today I'll be at home and I'll take care of the kid, for a man, and I'll take care of the baby, and you go out there and work. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I think, touch wood, we found a great balance. So when I'm working and I have to go out of town, etc., he'll always be there, so that my child has never been just left with a maid, etc., and vice versa. So it I think it always just takes, it takes that one moment in your life, or it takes that one decision which you have to take to decide to make a success of anything that you touch, anything that you decide to do. And only you can do that. Nobody else can do that for you. To embrace the highs, to embrace the lows, um, to just, as I said, be complementary to your partner. All of that are empowering things. Just trying to put somebody else down in a relationship does not empower you. Trying to put somebody else down in a conversation does not empower you. Trying to gossip about somebody so that you put yourself up higher than them because you know something about them and you can tell other people about them, that doesn't empower you. Being your own true person, being 100% pure from your heart, being somebody who people can relate to, being someone who people can just sit there and within 5 minutes tell their life stories to. That's what makes you empowered. That's what makes you a woman, of today. That's what makes you a woman who people would look up to. Those are the qualities that you should instill in your kids, in the in the people who are around you, in the younger people who are the next generation. Those are the kind of qualities that one needs to instill, not to show them how proud you can be or how famous you can be, etc. Uh, in my life, I mean, being a working woman, one big thing is, of course, time management. People say, how have you managed to do so many things? Yes, it does take a lot of juggling. It takes a lot of time management, that skills, and it takes a lot of priority setting. You have to set your priorities, know what comes first, what comes next. What is more important? Is this more important? Is that more important? Which also means there are times where you may have to give up certain things, give up projects. Sometimes there are 2, 3 projects that come at the same time, and you can't do it, but make that choice for yourself, and make that choice knowing that you will have more time on your hands to do justice to the projects that you have chosen, to give your 100%, because those people whose projects you have chosen are putting all of their hopes in you to make their project a success. So don't do this and that, and um, you know uh, not be sure about what decision you have taken. Another thing that I think empowered me, per se, is in 2016, I did a film called The Valley, a Hollywood film, my second Hollywood film. It is also the film where I won the Best Actress Award at the Long Island International Film Festival and the Milan International Film Festival. It was a very serious movie about teenage depression, and I played the mother of the girl who commits suicide at 16. And it was a very intense film. For me as an actor, it was an intense film. For me as a mother, it was even more intense. But it was after 25 years. I mean, yeah, 23 years or so. It was a film that brought me into the limelight, internationally. As far as awards, etc., is concerned, I only got some chota mota awards here in my entire career. But this was an eye opener. And it's not as if us actors always need to live for winning an award. No, but it does make a difference. I mean, I would have to say it most definitely does make a difference, to see this award that you get, especially from an international film festival, etc. So that was a big one for me. And why that empowered me, I think, is the fact that knowing there were so many hopefuls who wanted that role. I got it. I'm sitting in Bombay, I got that role, and I gave it my best shot, and my best shot seemed to be good enough for me to win those awards. So that empowered me, knowing that that decision I had taken at that point, even though my daughter was much younger, but thank God for my husband, he took care of her at that time when I was in California shooting. And yeah, so that was great. That was a really fantastic experience, and it's empowered me in knowing that you can tell people stories, you can give them lessons by even the work that you do. Long time ago in London, somebody met me in the underground tube station and said, Suchitra, I've got to tell you, I watched your serial Rahe, that is way back, 97, 98. And it changed my life because that's the life I was leading, and I took the path that your character took. And you never think for a minute that being an actor, you can change somebody's life like that. But you do, sometimes you do, and you have to be grateful and, count your blessings when it comes to that. So now at 50, I'm, properly embroiled in the web world or the OTT platform world. I think most of you may have seen on Netflix, I've been in Betal and Masaba Masaba, Amazon Prime, Made in Heaven 2. I've been on a lot of shows for Alt Balaji and Z5, the latest being Bebaki. Kehne Ko Hum Safar Hai, Romel and Jugal, a lot of serials like Beintehaa, Ek Shringar Swabhiman, etc. So I've done quite a bit of work, and now even on the OTT platforms, and it's wonderful to see how the industry has evolved from where it was then when we were doing TV serials then, and how it is now. And here too, for me, I think my power has been adaptability, to be able to adapt from how things were then to how things are now is great to learn, frankly, from your generation, from the present generation, how you all deal with. I have to say, I mean, technically, I have to take my daughter's advice sometimes to set up this and set up that, and even to set up today's meeting. But yeah, be open to learning from people who are even younger than you. Be open to learning new things, new techniques. Be open to change. Don't just sit there waiting. Just be that change. Make it happen for you. um, as I said, make things happen for you, as in make those calls, make those, uh, go and do those meetings, see to it that you are out there in whatever field that you have chosen, that you are out there, and, you turn around and you say that I want this job so bad, and I'm going to prove to you that I want this job. Empower yourself that way. Um, and try everything at least once, because at least then later on in life, you will not be able to look back and have any sort of regrets. Regret wise, I mean, people have asked me, so many people have asked me, I mean, don't you want to be as famous as an Aishwarya Rai or a Deepika Padukone? So many people have asked me that. If I had made, I would have to say there are choices that I made in my life, which right now, touchwood, have really empowered me. There were, the big bad world of Bollywood, as they say, that does exist in certain places. And had I made a few other choices, I may have been somewhere else as far as my career is concerned. But I made my choices the way I made them, and I'm really happy that wherever I am today, I'm still happy where I am, and I don't have to balance my happiness or counter it with the happiness of, with all due respect, Deepika Padukone or Aishwarya Rai, or the fame or the money that they have achieved. Count your blessings every day. I think that's very, very important. We kind of tend to forget. We tend to forget to count our blessings every day. You will see that where you are right now is where you need to be satisfied. You need to be happy with where you are right now, because you don't have to judge yourself according to anybody else's standards. You have to be who you are, create a standard of your own, be your own power. Don't expect anybody else to be that. Um, these sort of, I mean, I won't call them life lessons. It's just, I mean, my experiences that I've shared from you today, with you today rather, is what I hope, I mean, even my child, learns a little from, to be able to pick up the pieces and start over as a woman, to not be scared about that. I always tell my friends, when they have breakups and they cry and they say, oh, what's going to happen to my life? I'm never going to find anybody else again, and blah, blah, blah. I turn around and say, no, 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 please, don't even think about it that way. Be ready to pick up the pieces and start over. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I always believe in that. So no matter what the mishap in your life, no matter what bad things have happened, or things that have made you feel really bad about yourself, things that have made you feel rejected, things that have made you feel down, all of that, they're not important. What you need to do is learn from them. What you need to do is know that they will make you stronger. These are all experiences that you have had for a reason. These are all experiences that you have been chosen to have, so that they make you a stronger person, so that they make you a person that people will look up to, that people will turn around and say, yeah, she chose to change her life. She chose to create that power for herself. She chose to make herself happier and not depend on anybody else. You know, you you should just find your own solutions, is what I say. I mean, to wrap it up, if I can go on talking, but to wrap it up, I would just say, reach for the stars. Reach for the stars always, because there won't be any fences to stop you. All that is required is you. All that is required is your self-belief, your self-esteem, your self-confidence, your integrity towards your job, your loyalty towards your job and the people around you, the drive, the commitment, knowing that you are a person who is capable of achieving that. To an extent, even if sometimes some people who are not talented in a certain area, they think, oh, we can do it. Give it a shot. All I'm saying is give it a shot. It may not happen, but give it a shot, because then nobody can turn around and point a finger at you and turn around and tell you, oh, you didn't even try. So as far as I know, I keep saying, I will fight the fight, and I will be my own power jab tak hai jaan, because till the end of my days, I think just to be my own person, to be the one who has made the changes that I wanted in my life, I think that for me is a life not wasted.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, ma'am. It was really, really inspiring. It's like you have said, you can continue going with all this life lessons for us, but we can continue listening to you for hours. Trust me. And all the messages and the comments that we have been getting throughout your conversation were all most of the compliments and a few questions and the similar
Abhi
questions.
बुढ़ापा आ गया है, so I'll just wear my glasses now to read.
No, but
Thank you, Rohit. Yeah, I'm just seeing. Who's that one actor of the industry that inspires you? Oh, how sweet! Like you're an inspiration for us. One actor I would have to say would be Rekha. In the Indian industry, Rekha most definitely. In the foreign industry, Meryl Streep. Nothing has ever worried them. They're women of substance. They have tried everything. As an actor, they've tried everything without worrying about looking bad or not being beautiful on screen, etc. They've tried the whole gamut of things, which is why I think I use them as an inspiration. Rekha, I mean, she's a friend, I know her, and she's taught me a few life lessons about how, literally, about how you know ठान लो कि ये करना है मुझे, and just continue with it, and forget the world, let the world just say whatever they want to say. At the end of the day, you have to answer to yourself. You have to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and say, "ठीक है, I did this for myself." So I would say, Rohit, that's your answer. I mean, it would definitely be Rekha. What else, Pooja? I haven't seen the
great.
comments, so if there's other questions.
I'll do it. I'll do it, ma'am. There is Asmita. She's asking how different is it to work in television and to work in movies and different platforms that you've been working.
It is different, Ashmita. It's a good question, because as I said, it's acting, but it's acting in different mediums. Okay, theater. Now I started off with theater also when I came back to India, and I mean, to give you a little bit of a demo. Acting in theater is all, you use your voice big, and you talk like that, and supposing the line was mujhe nahi jana hai, it would be mujhe nahi jana hai, so that the person in the last row can hear you. Yeah, in television, in film, the camera is right here, you're already mic'd, etc., so you have to just say mujhe nahi jana hai, with the same impact, but with the lesser voice modulation. In If you were doing radio drama, you can go even closer. You don't even have to have the expressions. As a dubbing artist, you still have to have the expressions that you think the other actress has used while saying mujhe nahi jana hai, that kind of thing. So it's all very, very different, but very interesting. You have to know, I think the biggest thing as far as acting is concerned, most definitely, is one big lesson that people can learn is voice modulation. It is very different for all the different types of acting, and once you master that, half your battle is won. Was there any point, I like this question. Was there any point when you felt like quitting
Yes.
or felt to take rest, like sometimes the glamorous lights are not as pleasing as they look? Shania. Um, well, I wouldn't say quitting, no. Shania, to be completely truthful, my job is my solace. My job is what I love. I have loved it every single day of my life. And I mean that. No matter, even if I've done some Raddi TV serial sometimes, just for the money or whatever, I have still loved every single moment of going to the set and doing my work. So about quitting my work, no. And which is why, even at 50, as I was talking about my music, I'm still not quitting. My album has been ready for a couple of years, and I know it is brilliant music, and I know that people will want to hear it. It's just not been released yet because of how things have just worked out, and um, the lockdown and this and that, and my second video is not ready because we couldn't shoot it because of lockdown, etc., etc. Things that happen which make you want to quit sometimes. But that's it. No, I've never, I would have to say, That's another big strength of mine. And my friends turn around. They say, "How do you do it, Suchi? I mean, don't you just want to just throw your hands up in the air and say, "बहुत हो गया यार, बस मैं घर पे बैठूंगी. I'm not going to do anything." I don't. I have never done that. So, the glamorous lights are not as pleasing as they look. Yes, there are things. There are times, Shania. There are times when they really are not. There are times when I have worked 21-hour days on a job. That's the whole truth. I mean, for a TV serial that I was in, 21 hours, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. the next day, continuously working, and you feel tired. No doubt you feel tired, but you don't quit. As I said, you have to give it your 100% because it was your choice to be there. It was your choice that you made, that you took up that profession, that you got that opportunity, and you made the choice of taking that opportunity. So you better, go out there and give it your 100%, whether you're tired or not.
Wonderful. Now, another question. How important it is to be independent financially and mentally?
Extremely, extremely, which is why from the time I was 17, I started modeling. When I was doing engineering, I started modeling as well, doing TV commercials. And I think my parents instilled that in me a lot, Pooja, and to all of you out there. It is in this day and age, especially. Which is why I kept talking about, not basing your happiness and not basing your life on someone else. Don't give them that power. Keep that power for yourself. Keep that power knowing that no matter what, if the so and so is not there in my life, it doesn't matter. Frankly, I could have been a multimillionaire today. I don't have any qualm saying it. My ex-husband is a multimillionaire now, and I could have been a multimillionaire sitting in mansion somewhere across the world. I made a choice. Yeah, I didn't want to be Mrs. So and so, not for any other reason, because it was not me at that point. I made that choice, but I also made the choice of making myself financially independent, of continuing to work, continuing to do something wherein I didn't have to go to my parents and say, "Can I have 1,000 or 2,000 rupees?" Yeah, making something of myself, not sitting and saying, "Hey, what happened to my life? What's going to happen, etc." No, you need to do something which will give you that monetary independence, and that's very important.
Wonderful. Ma'am, you have been continuously saying you're 50, and being so young at 50 makes us say that age is just a number.
It is most definitely. It's all in the mind. I don't behave 50 with my friends or with my child or anybody else, and I don't feel 50. That's why I don't feel 50, I think.
Maybe that's why you do not even look 50.
I hope so.
Okay. Any memorable moment that you always cherish?
Oh, most definitely. There are so many. There are so many. I don't know how many of you know the actor Anthony Hopkins. Uh, do you all know about the actor Sir Anthony Hopkins, who was in Silence of the Lambs, and he's one of the biggest actors. Um, he did a movie called Silence of the Lambs, which was really huge, and he was really big at that time. And I was a hostess in the restaurant Bombay Brasserie that I told you about. And he was one of the regulars at that restaurant, and he had come for a meeting there. I had just joined. The manager introduced me to Mr. Hopkins. He said, "Oh, if someone very important is coming, you will seat them at table number this, blah, 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 blah." Anthony Hopkins, Emma Thompson, the actress, and Ismail Merchant from Merchant and Ivory Films, they had come for a meeting. I sat them down at their table. And as I said, Silence of the Lambs, this movie had just released. Okay, everyone knew Anthony Hopkins as a character called Hannibal Lecter, who was a cannibal, who used to eat human meat, etc., in this movie. So, 5 minutes after I've seated them at the table, my manager comes and says, "Oh, please go and tell Mr. Hopkins his raw lamb chops are ready." And I was like, "What?" And, I thought maybe he's a method actor. So he was very used to eating raw meat or whatever on the set, and which is why he wanted to eat raw lamb chops. But so I went to the table and I told Mr. Hopkins, "Sir, your raw lamb chops will be ready. I'm 21 years old wearing a sari." And, he said, "Fine, thank you very much." 10 minutes later, the chef called me to the kitchen and gave me a plate with 2 raw lamb chops on it, complete with blood and everything. And he said, "Please go and serve this to Mr. Hopkins." And I was like, "What are you saying?" I couldn't believe it. So anyway, I took it. And my hands were shaking like this. I walked up to Mr. Hopkins. He's sitting there. He looked at me. He said, "Sir, your raw lamb chops." And I put it down in front of him. And I was very curious to see whether, he was going to eat it or not. And so I was walking back like that, looking behind my shoulder to see whether he was eating it or not. And he suddenly called me. I was like, "Mar gayi yaar, something has happened." I walked up to the table and he just stared straight at me. He looked at me like that. Suddenly he caught my hand, he kissed my hand, and he said, Suchitra, I don't really bite, no matter what other people think because of the movie, I don't really bite. This was a joke we decided to play on you. Now, my manager, when they entered, they went up to him and told him, Sir, she's brand new over here. We'd like to have a little bit of fun with her. Do you mind playing this joke? And somebody as huge as Anthony Hopkins agreed to play a joke on me. I mean, which is what, as I said, taught me humility. For people to do things like that, take the time out during their meeting to just have a little bit of fun and create a memory for me, which I will remember for the rest of my life. That, yes, that's there. Here, a few experience. Oh, there have been so many. There have been so many. With Salman, of course, because of his accent in Marigold, we were talking in English in the movie, and Salman's accent keeps changing. But and I would tell him, "Kahan se liya hai tumhara accent? You got it from, you know." And one day after one scene, he said, "Chal, chal, we'll go to the monitor and we'll watch the scene." And we watched the scene, and he looked at me straight, and he looked at the screen again, and he said, "यार ये accent की तो मैंने कर दी है ना bad." So I said, yeah. So that was one. During Dil Chahta Hai, there were so many. Oh my God, there were so many incidences. You know, Saif Ali Khan was a riot. He would always, you know, make me laugh on the set when I was supposed to be serious, etc., in front of Amir and Akshay, etc. Oh, there was a funny incident where Dimple Kapadia, you know, the assistant directors, when they're taking the actor onto the set, this is the first time they would, like, it was like an international set. So each assistant director, each actor was assigned an assistant director. Dimple Kapadia was being taken to the set with her assistant director. And they're talking on the walkie and they say, Madam Dimple is walking, Madam Dimple is walking, which is what they say when you're going to the set. And Dimple Kapadia just stopped in the middle of the corridor. And she looked at the AD, young AD, and she looked at the AD and she said, Madam Dimple doesn't walk, Madam Dimple glides. So can you please tell them on the intercom? Please tell them on the intercom, Madam Dimple is gliding to the set. And this poor girl was standing there looking at her like that, saying, Ma'am, ma'am, I will not move until you say, Madam Dimple is gliding to the set. So that poor girl had to say, Madam Dimple is gliding to the set, and everybody on the set was already laughing by the time she reached the set, because that was another thing that, you know, there have been so many instances, you know. But yeah, it's been an interesting life. So those are some of the things that have happened for sure.
Wonderful, wonderful. Ma'am, we really want to talk a lot. I think
But
we
they're
can
out
go
of
ahead,
time.
but yes, we are out of time. So just last one message from your side to our students who are watching, the younger ones.
To everybody who's watching, I mean, the only thing I'll say is something that I reiterated in what I spoke to you before, is just believe in yourself. That's all you need. You know, empower yourself by completely believing in yourself, by knowing that you are capable of making whatever change in your life you want to make. It is only you who can make that change. You are responsible for the decisions you take, and be proud of it. Be proud of the decisions you make, of all the choices that you make, and just, you know, go forward. Don't look back. No regrets. Never ever have any regrets. Nahi hua, wo hua, let it be hua. You know, but just go ahead and live your life to the fullest.
I'm sorry, I was on mute. So no
Yes,
regrets and no baggages is your message
absolutely.
to the younger generation. Thank you so much, ma'am. It was wonderful. Spending last 1 hour with you was amazing, and this is going to be memorable for all of us. Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much. Thank you so much for, you know, all of you at Vidyadan. I'm so happy to have been able to do this today. Happy Women's Day again to all you boys watching. As I said, treat your women well. Otherwise, she's going to come there to fight for them.
Absolutely. So with this, thank you so
Lots of
much,
love.
ma'am. Take care of yourself, and we
Thank you.
will wait for your album. We'll wait for all your
Yes.
shows and
Another thing, anybody who wants any more advice, Suchitra Pillai at readifmail.com is my email ID. Please go ahead and ask me whatever questions you want, or if you need any advice in this line of work that I'm in, all the many lines of work I'm in, I'll be more than happy to help.
wonderful. So thank you so much, lovely students watching us. Take care. Take care of your health. Stay safe in this as the corona is again coming back. Take care. We'll see you soon. And do follow our social media handles. Take care.